Welcome to TruPowur, home of the most powerful marketing tools, training, and technology on planet Earth. Get ready to earn, enjoy, and experience more than you ever dreamed was possible. If you're tired of just getting by and ready to really thrive, then buckle in and listen up. Here's your host, Matt Fox.
Matt Fox here. How the heck are you doing this fine day? Today on episode 232 of TruPowur Academy, I want to talk to you about all things residential. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. All right. So today we want to talk about all things residential. And over the past week or so, I've gotten several questions about how to request customer leads, how to do that more effectively, where's the best markets to request those leads from, and so forth. So I want to touch on that real quick before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's call. And so if you're going to order or request residential or commercial leads, then you would do so by selecting the request customer leads for CRM and dialer button. And that is going to open up this request information page. So there are a couple of things that you should be looking at beforehand. Number one is the market updates, and that's probably the most important thing. So if you click on that, it will bring up your back office if you're logged in and select market updates. And so from here, you can see that in the old days, you used to have to do the analytics by hand and go hunt and peck and look for where's the best market. Now, the system automatically does the analytics on all territories across the United States and Canada on a daily basis, and then creates this report in your back office. So if you select that, you're going to notice that at the top, it's going to say commercial matrix rates. So these are the states in which you're going to have the best opportunity to speak to customers. So if I was looking for commercial matrix leads, then I would be looking at Connecticut, Illinois, Massachusetts, and so forth. Commercial natural gas, Illinois, and New York. If I am looking for residential customers, then I want to be looking at this area. So Illinois, Massachusetts, and New York. And this is updated on a daily basis. So you want to make sure that you refer to this and be apprised of any changes that may be coming about. And so below that, you're going to have, these were a couple of the auctions and what their results were. So markets where customers received competitive bids. So you can see what the competitors were charging versus what we got out there versus Matrix. Market timing predictions, as well as some natural gas analytics and what the forecast on that looks like as well. But it's really important to know what markets to be in. So had somebody yesterday that requested residential leads from an area that they were in a situation where, the rates on that were much higher than what the customer was currently paying. So it wasn't being very effective. So we want to make sure that we target those markets where we can have and provide the most value to the customer. So if I was going to request residential leads, then I would be looking at either Illinois, Massachusetts, or New York. And so from here, you just simply put in your name, your TruPowur email address, your extension so that support can verify who it is. And then down here, you're going to select residential. So you can select residential for electric only. There are some states that only provide deregulation or matrix prices in electric only. There are states that only provide matrix in natural gas only. And then there are states that have electric and natural gas. So I would say that that would be your premium states. And then that is going to be in Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, or Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Washington. So if I wanted to select that for Illinois, once I fill that information out, support will take and add that information, those leads into your CRM. And they typically, I think they send you a notification letting you know when that is done. But it's very, very important to refer to the market updates prior to requesting customer leads. Now, if you're just wanting to take advantage of some of the different time zones and you're working commercial markets, that's a little bit different if you're just wanting to look at utility audit only. But obviously, we want to be able to provide the most amount of value. So the premium is going to be commercial customers where we can do electric, gas, both custom pricing and matrix pricing. And so for those who do not understand the difference between those two, if you look at the different areas, residential footprint is much smaller when you look at matrix pricing. And so you can see this is just electric only in Texas. It's only gas in California. And then the dark blue is going to be electric and natural gas. And so that is for the residential market for matrix. Commercial matrix pricing is going to be very similar. And then, of course, overall custom pricing is going to have the largest footprint. So be aware of where you're putting your effort so that you can maximize your income and moreoverly provide the greatest amount of value for those customers. So once those have been added into your CRM, then we're going to go ahead and log into the CRM. Now I'm already logged in. There are two ways to begin making calls. If you have leads in your system, they're going to show down here. And then you can also look at my leads. So if you need to sort them, you can click on my leads. And so you may have several different tabs here that may vary for different reasons. You can also select the different source. So if you ordered Illinois residential, then you're going to want to come down here and select residential Illinois and then hit search. And that will bring up all of those customer leads that were added into your system. I don't have any currently, so it's not going to pull any up. So let's go to a residential customer. So I had a couple people that actually wanted to know where the dial button is. That's this little green button right here that says click to dial. This button right here is to send the customer an email. You have to have an email address in there in order for it to work, obviously. And so up here you have the customer contact information. And up at the top, you have several different scripts. All of you must, or most of you should be familiar with the utility audit. We're going to be talking about the residential market today. So the first thing that I want to point out is that in the introduction, it does not say, hello, is this John? Or how are you, John? Or anything that relates to their name. I could care less because it may say Mary and Mary's sister answers the phone. I have absolutely no idea who that is. I don't need to get into a long topic and discussion as to whose name it is. It's not valuable at this point in the stage of the deal. So good morning, good afternoon. My name is Matt Fox with TruPowur and the State Energy Choice Program. Now, if I'm calling Illinois, then I would say probably of Illinois. Not sure if you're aware of it, but the rates in your area are at an all-time low. Our company has a promotion that is absolutely amazing, and you just can't lose. So here it is. Grab a copy of your electric bill, and if the rate on your bill is lower than what we have to offer, then our company is prepared to give you $500 in restaurant cash. If any of the rates we offer are better than what you're currently paying, then we would like for you to take advantage of it and save some money. But either way, you win, right? So I think that the customer is more apt to go get their electric bill than to tell you to kick rocks. So once they've gotten their electric bill, then what is the next step? Well, we already know what the zip code is. So if I copy that, Control C, and I go over to the residential side, which is the front of the platform. I'm going to use the demo for today, and make sure that your sales code is in there. So if you don't see your sales code applied in there, I've got it disabled because this is a demo. So you'll see up at the very top, your sales code should be active. And so all you need to do is then put in the zip code for that area. Now, if I'm working in a specific area, there are a couple things that I'm also going to want to kind of know, because if I'm working in Illinois in a specific area, then I'm going to know that the rates in those areas are probably pretty close to being the same. So you can come down here to where it says view the average electric rates nationwide. Now, I happen to be looking at one that's in Texas right now. So if I come down and look at the Texas market, so you can see this is residential and commercial. So if I come down here to where it says Texas, I can see that the average residential rate is 12.24. So I highlight that, hit Control C, and I'm going to come back up here into the pricing platform and enter that in as the current rate, just to give me some sort of basis to start with when I'm talking to that customer. So as soon as the customer gets a copy of their electric bill, they're going to give me the rate that they have. If they can't figure it out, not a big deal. The average rate, most people in your area are spending about 12.24 cents. At any rate, whatever they're currently paying, put that in there and hit requote. That will update the platform to provide what the monthly savings is. Now, the front of the platform, which we do all of the residential on, you can also do commercial, except that you don't have a lot of control over it. And so we only do residential through the front of the platform, and we do all of our commercial through the back office or the back of the platform. So you can't possibly make any mistakes. So if I'm talking to the customer and I see that 9.7 is going to provide them about $40 to $45 a month in savings, and that customer wants to move forward with that, then it's a real simple process of clicking sign up. So once you hit sign up, the authorized user option, now this will change from state to state. So Illinois, that may say account number. Ohio, it may say customer number. Here it just says authorized user, optional. I'm going to put in John Smith. I usually just put their name in there. So if I have John Smith is who I am speaking to in my CRM right here, then I am going to go ahead and put that information in there. So we'll just drop that in real quick. And what is the customer's address? 555 Republic Drive. So I'm just going to take and drop that in. And of course, based on the zip code, it's already going to know the zip code, state, and city. So from here, if by chance And let me back up just a little bit. This is actually when I ask the customer their name. Up to this point, I have never addressed the customer by name. When I get to this point, that is when I'm going to ask, how is the name on the bill spelt? Johnsmith. Okay, thanks, John. So now I know that the information here is correct, and I don't need to get in a big dialogue as to, I know that I'm talking to John when he tells me how the name is spelt on the bill. So that is the first time that I'm going to even involve their name on a residential deal. A little bit different on commercial. On residential, this is the first time that I'm going to even deal with the name issue. So how is your name spelt on the bill? Johnsmith. Perfect. Thanks, John. And the address as it is on the bill, you want to make sure that you put it exactly the way it is on the bill. And then we're going to put in the phone number. And if they don't have a landline, then just go ahead and put both the mobile in both the landline and the mobile area. I'm going to put their email address in there. So whatever their email address is, and that's important because the system recognizes that I have an IP address that does not belong to this customer's address right here. And it is going to automatically send an email to this customer with a verification link to make sure that I'm not just taking names and numbers out of a phone book and adding people in, and hopefully they click it and so forth. So we don't want to do that. English, is it a house or an apartment? And then hit next. And then it is going to come up and verify some information so you can take a quick last look at it and make sure that everything is correct. It had pulled up the ESID for that address for me, so it should automatically know that for you. On occasion, if you have somebody that it's brand new service and you don't know what that ESID is, or somebody who is moving in and doesn't have a copy of the previous bill, let support know and they can try and find that ESID for you. That's really primarily indicative of Texas, not any other areas. So is this going to be a switch or a new move in? So this is going to be a switch. And so we're going to go ahead and put in the customer's social security number and their date of birth. We're going to make them 1940. And then check both boxes and then hit submit. So thank you for enrolling. And at this point, this is when you need to let the customer know that they have gotten probably most likely an SMS, a text, or an email. Primarily the email was sent to you. They need to click the verification link to complete the enrollment process. This step ensures that the process is complete and verifies that they have approved it, because their IP address, that device is actually registered to that address that is on the billing. So that is really simple. You don't need a copy of their bill in your hand. Name, address, phone number, email. Occasionally it'll ask for their date of birth and social security. It is a soft pull. It doesn't check their credit in that sense, but it makes sure to verify the information is correct, so that there are people, believe it or not, who think that they can just keep switching their account rather than paying their bill. And the system will catch it and red flag it, and they'll probably end up having to pay a deposit unless it's brand new service, then they're probably going to have to pay a deposit anyway. So if for some reason that customer is not able to click the link right now, or they don't see it or what have you, then until they've actually clicked the link, you'll see right here where it says pending, and you'll see a little paper airplane. So the next day you still see that paper airplane there. That means that they have not finished the enrollment process. It is not confirmed. It has not been completed. And so you talk to that customer and they say, well, I couldn't find it. Well, let me resend it to you now. All you need to do is click that, hit OK, and it is going to resend that link to them while they're on the phone. So that I typically like to say, go ahead and open that up, click the verification link, and then read back the response for my records. That way, you know they actually did it. And when you go in your back office, you should be able to see that real easily. It'll go from pending to signed to completed when it's done. So it is a really simple process in the CRM and in the pricing platform. So going back over to the CRM here a little bit. Once we have finished the deal, then we need to change the status of that customer and put that into one residential electric or whatever it is, or if you need to follow up with that customer, whatever the status is after you've made that call, then you need to update this over here. Otherwise, all of your leads are going to stay. Otherwise, if you do not update the status, all of your leads are going to stay in a status of fresh leads never contacted. And so we want to make sure that we build that out, and so that we're always working with fresh customers all the time. Now, I do want to make a couple of points here, and that is never, ever leave a voicemail drop. Never leave a voice message with residential. You never know if that person has just signed up for the do not call list, or a lot of times people don't even know how to do it, and they just say, I'm on the do not call list. That's all they have to say. Be nice, be polite, just say, hey, look, I will certainly scrub it out of my list. I suggest that you go to donotcall.com. Make sure that you enter your phone number in there correctly. Sometimes people will inadvertently put a number in there that's incorrect, or they'll use dots instead of dashes and things like that. But be polite to people. So again, you would not use the voicemail drop down here. Ever, never, ever on residential. So now, as far as, let's say that the customer did actually have a better rate than what we could offer at that time, then we want to send them information on how to redeem their $500 in restaurant cash certificate. And so it is going to, you just go down here to the templates where it says redeem $500 in restaurant cash, residential customer. And it's going to pull in their name. Thank you for your time today to redeem your $500 in restaurant cash. Go to, and this is all tracked, so it'll tell you when they've done it. Rates are always changing, and we would like to compete for your business in the future. Please feel free to check the rates from time to time. Go to TruPowur.com, enter the sales code 700. It'll put your sales code in there to apply discounts. They're going to put that in there. Once they do it once, it'll stay there forever. So don't worry about it. Once they do it, at some point, their contract is going to expire. They're going to go back and look at it. They might have lied to you on the phone and just want to go do it themselves. At least this way, if they put in that sales code and they come back and do it later, then it is going to afford you an opportunity to get that customer at a later date. So look forward to working with you again in the future. It's going to put all your information in there. And so that is how you want to send that redemption, and then just click send. If you find that you are looking at the email window for people who have smaller than some who have monitors that might be a little smaller. From time to time, I'll have people that will call me and say, I do not see the send button because it looks like this, because their screen is so small and there's not enough room to move this any higher. So if you ever run into that, come up here to the three dots and you can reduce the size of the screen right here to make that fit. So just a little tip on that if you are needing to bring more into the real estate of your screen. So that is really how to walk through a residential deal. And, you know, setting up the pricing platform with your sales code and average price is really going to be important when you are looking at those deals. So let me go back over here. So let's use an Illinois, for example. So if I was looking at Illinois, it's 13.12. Put that in, hit requote. That's going to add the savings. So that's pretty good. Now, you're going to have different contract lengths, and you need to make sure what you're looking at, that this 7.49 looks like a really pretty good deal. But it is a power plan and it's not a fixed all in. So unless it says fixed all in, then it is got other conditions around that. And you can always review and look at the details by clicking details, the disclaimers, terms of conditions on each one of these. So that's very helpful. Saving just as much money for 8.19 with a fixed all in. That means it's not going to have a variable. It is 36 months. So if it's a home owner, I probably would go with the longer term contract. If it is a renter of an apartment, I probably would go with a much shorter term contract. People typically sign leases year to year. And so, you know, you may want to find out if you're in a home or apartment. I'm in an apartment. When does your lease run out? Oh, next year. How long have you been there? 5 years. Are you planning to stay there? Oh yeah, we're never moving. Then I might go to a longer term contract and save them as much money as possible. Plus you're going to get a small residual on that as well. So walking through all of that with the customer is pretty straightforward, and entering the customer's information into the system is really important. But don't forget to tell the customer to check their email and click the verification link, and then read back the response for my record. So they're going to click it and it's going to come back. And if you had signed them up with Constellation, then it's going to say, thank you very much for enrolling with Constellation at 7.49 for 36 months. And so you're going to know immediately that they actually did that without going into your back office to check. If you go in your back office and you see that little paper airplane, that means that they have not clicked the link yet. So there you have it. So make sure that they are aware to click that verification link and so forth. Send them the reward. You may want to send them a little something nice anyway afterwards. That's entirely up to you in sending the customer a reward email. So one of the other things that I do want to point out is the 90-day money made guarantee. Now, we have a lot of agents that are on this, and there are some who have not taken advantage of it. The reality is this: if you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, then you should really take advantage of this. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing anyway, then this probably wouldn't help you. But the reality is, if you do a minimum of 2 residential deals a week, it more than offsets the agent license. But if you're just making proactive dials per day, then, if you're making 100 dials, that means you click that button. I can do 300 hand dials in an afternoon. So to click that button 100 times to be proactive calls. Now, I'm not just looking for people to make calls and hang up, calls and hang up. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making a minimum of 100 proactive dials a day through the CRM Monday through Friday. So that's going to be 500 minimum per week, right? It's really been, since everything is recorded, it's going to be very simple to find out why you have a bunch of dials and no talk time. If you have a lot of talk time and no conversion, it's very easy to put those tips and tricks in place to help you reach the goal. But ultimately, if you have a couple of residential deals a week, it more than offsets it. And obviously, as time goes by, you can lower that rate down to where 1 deal a month will more than offset that. So that's just the cost of doing business and being smart. Residential deals are fun. They're very light. They're not complicated. I always like to suggest that people start with some residential, get a feel for the platform. That way they're getting a feel for where the buttons are, how everything works. I would much rather you spend some time learning the processes with residential than to potentially make a mistake with a commercial customer that has a very large, or could have a very large commission attached to it because you didn't know what you were doing. So don't be afraid to request some residential customers and work on those. They're a lot of fun. They help people, and they refer people, as well as they have jobs. What kind of work do you do? Once everything is done, oh, by the way, what kind of work do you do? Oh, I work for a major company doing X. And so you can always, talk to a business owner, get a referral. John Smith told me to give you a call, said that I might be able to help you. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. And then you have an in. So don't be afraid to get referrals and so forth. So take advantage of that 90-day money made guarantee. I did want to spend some time walking you through a residential deal and where to find most of the information that you need in order to work that a little bit easier. Well, I hope that you found value in today's training. If you did, please give us a like and a subscribe. Until next time, have fun storming the castle.